This week on Quoted 2.0.
And for any of your listeners or viewers who are those starving freelancers, I'd say just really take the time to establish yourself as different. Only one person can be the cheapest, and most inexpensive is rarely the cheapest, right? So establish yourself as someone who knows what they're doing, can add value, and has actually done their homework. And that already sets you above 90% of your competitors.
All right, well, we're here with Michael Lovdal, Chief Executive Officer of Alignn Marketing. Michael, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Michael, one of the biggest things I noticed when I was looking at your site and whatnot, you opened Alignn in the middle of the literally peak pandemic, August 2020, I believe. What made you pull the trigger at that moment? And also, what were you doing prior?
Absolutely. So previously to Alignn Marketing, we were actually known as Michael Lovdal Marketing and Design. And being a branding guy, having to say MLMD or say it out is just too long. So we really look to reimagine ourselves in the agency model just over a year ago. So previously we've been working with about 7 different team members. We were growing. We had already expanded to that sort of agency-like model. It was time to graduate and really become an agency. So that's what the story was kind of previously. Before that, I actually worked with a marketing agency, which is where I had gotten some of my start. And before that, I was actually working with a global enterprise solution. That was really in the finance industry. That was really a chance for me to work on a $200 million campaign, get some just amazing experience with global, regional, and local level advertising across a variety of media. Just blew my mind of just what marketing could be.
And was it always marketing at these companies? Like, did you feel that when you kind of transitioned into doing your own thing, that you had any clear weaknesses that you were like, okay, like I know marketing, but I don't know anything about like the back end of it or how we can like maintain cash flow and stuff? Or were you kind of well-rounded?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Actually, one of the things that made me resistant to founding an agency in the first place was a lack of understanding of not really the financial. I'd served on a board. I've had fiduciary responsibility, but really just going through your accounts receivable, accounts payable, balance sheets. I just don't care about those things. I really care about clients. I care about moving the needle. I care about really investing in people and doing something that matters. And so these other things are things that I've just had to work really hard to learn in order to accommodate the things that I actually want to be doing.
That's a true entrepreneur right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and you had mentioned it before to me, but to everybody, what is it? Because obviously digital marketing can mean a ton of things, or just being a marketing company can mean so many things. What is it exactly that you guys do?
Absolutely. So the whole point of the Alignn name is that we help clients relate to their prospects with the right message in the right place at the right time. We're not beholden to a particular medium or platform. We want to just help you get the message out. And that's, to me, like that's the whole point of marketing. I really want to show people something that they love, that they can relate to. We want you to be top of mind for the thing that you do. So you're not just spamming people with your message, you're offering value.
Do you guys have anything that is your typical pitch to clients of why they should work with you?
Absolutely. Our differentiators are kind of threefold. One, we do have some very proprietary technologies and innovations that we have built over several years of just really some insider experience. We've worked with some of the top agencies in the world doing white label work. So we have seen how the big dogs do it. When you've got millions and millions to spend, we've been able to bring that down to more of a smaller and mid-sized company. We work with a lot of nonprofits. So we have a really well-established niche within certain nonprofit areas. That's been amazing. But second, that we really invest in our clients. We become very, very close to our clients. So when we say like we have the best customer service, whatever, it's not about just like answering the phone really fast, or you can get through a phone menu. There is no phone menu. You just talk to a human, because we invest in relationships with our clients, like send each other silly gifts over Slack kind of relationships. And just to like really get to know them. We talk about like our successes and failures, not their successes and failures. It's really a collaborative extension of team. And then third, just our ability to be agile and not beholden to our particular medium. You know, if you're a pen salesman, all you can sell is pens. Sometimes people don't need pens. And it's really helpful to be able to go to a client and say, I don't think you need to be where you're spending all this money. Let's be over here where we can actually reach your prospects.
And it's so funny because I feel like such like larger companies, sometimes they get in the habit of almost thinking that just more is automatically better. Like if you go to do a Google ad and you're spending thousands upon thousands a month, you're like, oh man, we're killing it. But then you look at the engagement and it could be so much more efficiently spent, like you just said, in a way. So it's cool to see a company that not only does that, but values that, I guess, in a way, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we're like, no, let's spend less. We want to get your quality score up, so you're burning less on the ads that you're showing. Let's make them more effective. Let's optimize your landing pages, get them loading faster, make them convert, you know.
And one of the main reasons why I wanted to have you on was I was so interested by one of the responses that you gave me when we were talking on LinkedIn. And you were basically just summing up, like you basically were talking about how people message you and people message other people by just kind of shooting their stuff out there. They're just like, here, somebody, it's going to stick. Like I'm going to throw this at a chalkboard and something will stick. Someone's going to finally be like, yes, I need your service. And obviously that's not the correct way to market. So my question to you is, one, how many people do reach out to you and how many people do it efficiently?
Absolutely. So I am solicited easily over 100 times a week. Oh my God. Bare minimum. And that's over LinkedIn, phone calls, robocalls, thankfully have started slowing down. That used to be a real problem. Multiple social media channels. I mean, almost everywhere. It's to the point where I actually had to hire my assistant at first. She mercifully, God bless her, she goes through and takes care of all my emails to make sure only relevant emails get to me. She actually screened your initial outreach through LinkedIn, because I don't read my own LinkedIn messages. I can't. I can't. I only follow up specifically with people when she's like, here's somebody that you actually need to talk to. And here's what the situation is, because guarding my time as a CEO has become my most important strategic asset. I'm the only person that can do everything, but if I try and do everything, everything will drop. And so being able to guard my time and protect it.
When did you come to that realization that guarding your time was such a valuable thing to be doing every week? Because I think a lot of young entrepreneurs and a lot of people in business, it's like you're following the shiny light, like the shiny item or something, where you're just going from, okay, I think this is good. Oh wait, no, I think this is good. And it becomes a real problem, because then you don't get things done that are either revenue builders or clientele builders, and you're not focusing on the important stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Mercifully, this is something that came to me fairly early. So we were probably 7 to 9 months into Michael Lovdal Marketing and Design. And I just realized that I was working at that point probably 70 hours a week, and I was hurting myself. I actually was having to like seek medical attention based on the neglect myself in order to accommodate everything I was. I'm like, oh, dang it, we're not nearly as big as I thought we'd be at this point. Clearly, I'm trying to do too much. I need to just be a little more strategic about that, figure out where is my sweet spot, where can I really offer the most value, and who can I get to do something better that's actually going to enjoy it in these other areas to free me up to do the things that I need to do.
That makes complete sense. Yeah. And do you find, is the simple fix to people who reach out to an endless amount, like I'm sure like many people, like I have a LinkedIn lead generator that helps do a lot of work for me.
Yeah.
And it's 50-50. It's exactly what, but it's learning from people like you and who sent me that message of really how to build rapport. is so important early on in an entrepreneur's career. Is it as simple of a fix as just doing more research of how you can help the person you're reaching out to? Is that it?
Caring about the individual is a really underrated skill. The number of solicitations that I hear is like, oh, I'm just looking to expand my network. I'd like just 15 minutes of your time.
Mhm.
I'm like, dang, 15 minutes of my time. I don't think you can afford that right now. Like, I'm not just handing that out for free. This is about guarding my time. You're saying, I just want your most precious asset. I'm going to ask it from you and I'm going to give you nothing in return. Like, that doesn't sound like a fair shake.
Yeah.
And so many of those are like that, where it's generic, it's faceless, it doesn't add value, and it usually asks for something while offering nothing. And even the odd time when I'm not seeing that, I'm often seeing kind of irrelevant solicitations or general ones where they're like, hey, well, we've got like the best koozies in the world, man. You got to check us out. We'll give you 50% off, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I never told you I needed koozies.
Like, I don't need those.
That didn't happen. Right? So I would say pick a low noise channel. Find out where your prospect is that they're not going to get solicited constantly. So for me, 5 years ago, LinkedIn was a great way to reach me. Today, it's very, very hard. So find a low noise channel that people are often not reaching out, and then pick that one. And then second, give value, man. Is there a free lead generator that you can hand off? Is there an assessment that you can make? When you compliment someone, do you just say, hey, I'm so impressed with your company generically? Or do you say, man, I reviewed your services and I just love the way that you phrase this. I'd like to ask you questions. I mean, even down to you inviting me onto a podcast. I've been invited actually to several podcasts recently. This is the first one that I took up because your approach was more personal and more authentic, and I appreciated that.
That's so good to hear. And that is such good advice. It's just so accurate, because so many times that, because like, and I guess, I don't know if it's just a title thing, like if you have CEO in your title or whatever you have in your title on LinkedIn or wherever, the more people that are going to approach you. But it's almost like it's almost just unintelligible how people approach it. And they think of it in a quantity over quality thing. And I think this is such a quality over quantity play. It's not even funny, because if you're only reaching out to 5 people a week, but those 5 people have been filtered through to your lowest system where you're like, okay, this guy actually might be interested. It's a complete game changer, like you just said. So many times when people are in business, it's tough to separate themselves from their competitors, because a lot of times they're just going off of like, oh, I have the best customer service, which is, I opened my business in March 2021 and I had no experience. So all I'm doing is hustling. And I thought that could be a differentiator. And I've learned over time that it's not the best differentiator. Do you guys have anything that is your typical pitch to clients of why they should work with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the volume game is typically what we see from the lowest value vendors. So if you're competing on price and that's really your only point, those are the people that are just sending out thousands of messages. These are typically your starving freelancers who are just desperate for business, and they don't really have any particular established value to offer. And for any of your listeners or viewers who are those starving freelancers, I'd say just really take the time to establish yourself as different. Only one person can be the cheapest, and most inexpensive is rarely the cheapest, right? So establish yourself as someone who knows what they're doing, can add value, and has actually done their homework. And that already sets you above 90% of your competitors.
I love that. That is so accurate. All right, so I got 2 more questions left for you. So I would assume, previously I would assume that you were in the kind of like the growth phase of your business. Where do you go from here, and what's your plan to get more clients and kind of grow the business and scale steadily?
Absolutely. We're in sort of a weird niche where in marketing, it is generally known that marketing companies get very little of their growth through marketing themselves. And I know that's an absurd concept, right? What company doesn't use their own product? I would say the vast majority of our growth comes from multi-level client referrals, where a client refers to a client who refers to a client, like viral referrals. Because the idea is, if you are successful enough for your clients and all of their metrics go up, And by the way, all of our clients who invested the level of spend that we suggested all saw growth even through the pandemic, even in industries where their competitors were going out of business.
That's awesome.
So
That's awesome.
this is this is just an area where if you really pour into it, you can be successful. Ogilvy, one of the greatest, largest marketing companies in the world, if you look at their social media, it's a little bit embarrassing. If you go through it, like their follower count, their engagement, it's like, wait, do you not understand social media? But they do. They have some banging, amazing campaigns. They put out some great, like, frontier work. Marketing is not the most successful concept for marketing companies. It's bizarre.
And which is so funny because in any other industry, you can see these behemoths of companies, like it's specifically in mine. Like, I don't know if you know, like an ASI or a Harper and Scott. These people are doing $1 million deals on a daily basis, and then like you look at their Instagram and it's like 350 followers, like, and you're like, wait, what? Like, this doesn't add up at all.
Absolutely. Well, with ASI, PPAI, so I am an ex-industry insider, so I can speak to the biopoly of that. I think that's why they're able to kind of do that is, I mean, you really can't do much business in the industry without associating with one of these organizations.
Not possible. Not possible. And then the last question for you, I always end with my guest's favorite quote and just something that they've kept in their head to keep them inspired throughout business, since there's a lot of ups and downs when it comes to entrepreneurship. So is there anything that kind of you have always heard that resonated with you?
Absolutely. So one of my favorite books of all time is Harry Beckwith's What Clients Love. Have you read this one?
I have not, but that was a legendary reveal.
It's a classic. This thing, my edition here was printed in the 80s. And it's still very relevant today with the concepts that he teaches. Newer is not always better. Sometimes things just work. And this quote from him, I love it, from What Clients Love. He says, ask and keep asking yourself, what would people love? So ask and keep asking yourself, what would people love? When Steve Jobs first came out with the iPhone, he didn't say tons of people are looking for a smartphone. I think I'll build one that happens to be faster. He said, I bet people would love that. It's a really important concept, and it's a huge differentiator from the crowd.
Because and that ties into specifically with Steve Jobs, people don't always know what they want. If someone would have told you ages ago during the Henry Ford time that they would have wanted a faster horse, they wouldn't have said like, hey, can you make a car out of it? Like, can you make some type of automobile out of this? So phenomenal quote that is being stored in the back of the memories right there. That's a really good one. Wow. This is very insightful. I appreciate you going over all this, Michael. That is Michael Lovdal, everybody. He is the Chief Executive Officer of Alignn Marketing. Please, please, please check his company out, check his profile out, but do not solicit him without the proper research before. If you take anything from this podcast, take that.